In a forgotten alley in the city, under the starry cloak of a Kannur night in Kerala, a lonely homeless man found companionship in a pair of eyes reflecting the moonlight. The thin and cautious-looking dog slowly approached, drawn by the smell of a piece of bread split in half. Without words, the man offered him half of his dinner, and thus a friendship was forged in the simplicity of shared survival. The man, known only as Arjun to the few who cared, lived on the fringes of society, invisible to most, but to the dog, whom he affectionately named Shule, he was the whole world. Shule, with his brown fur and eyes filled with unwavering loyalty, followed Arjun to every nook and cranny of the city, finding joy in the simplest moments, a game of chasing shadows or the shared warmth on cold nights. Life on the streets is unforgiving, and Arjun knew it better than anyone. He had made the corner of an old abandoned building his home, a space covered with cardboard that offered little protection from the occasional chilly wind that swept through the city. Chule, his faithful companion, was his only family, the only one who greeted his mornings with an enthusiasm that warmed his heart, already worn out by life. Days passed with the monotony of one who measures time not by a clock, but by the sun and the moon. Arjun and Chule shared every meal, every smile, and every tear. Until one night, the unexpected happened. Arjun, clutching his chest, fell to the cold ground, his labored breathing cutting through the silence of the night. In a panic, Chule barked and howled, trying in vain to awaken his friend. People from the nearby area, drawn by Chule's desperate howls, found Arjun lifeless. Not understanding what was happening, Chule followed his friend's body, which was hastily taken to the local hospital's morgue for an autopsy. Chule watched from a distance as the door swallowed Arjun, unaware that it would be the last time he saw his companion. The night gave way to dawn, but Chule remained there, sitting, with his eyes fixed on the door that had swallowed the only person who meant home to him. Hope gleamed in his eyes, a hope that kept him there, day after day, waiting for a reunion that his heart refused to accept would never happen. Days turned into weeks, and Chule remained immobile, his silhouette becoming a constant presence in front of the morgue. The hospital staff, initially indifferent to the dog's presence, began to notice his unwavering loyalty. Vikas Kumar, a compassionate employee, was the first to approach Chule, offering him water and a piece of his own lunch. "He doesn't budge from here," Vikas commented to his colleagues, as if he's waiting for someone who promised to return. Maya Gopalakrishnan, a doctor who passed by the area daily, watched the scene with a heavy heart. She knew Chule's story, heard from the guards how he had arrived, following an ambulance, and never left. Moved by compassion, Maya began bringing homemade food for Chule, noticing his peculiar preferences: eggs and fish, but never rice. "You have good taste, don't you, Chule?" she murmured, petting his head as he ate. Meanwhile, Chule's story began to spread beyond the hospital walls. Visitors and even people from other parts of the city came to see him, bringing food, water, and sometimes just seeking connection. A solitary figure in his vigil, Chule became a symbol of loyalty and unconditional love, touching the hearts of everyone who heard his story. One afternoon, a local news station's team arrived to cover Chule's story. "This is a true example of loyalty," the reporter said, capturing Chule lying down, his eyes still fixed on the door through which his friend had disappeared. The story went viral, taking Chule's story to the world, comparing him to Hachiko, the famous Japanese dog who waited for his owner for years. Supportive and admiring comments flooded social media. "A dog loves you more than itself," one message said. "The Indian Hachiko," commented another. People were moved, some to tears, others with smiles, but all touched by the story of a dog who waited day after day for the impossible. However, Chule remained oblivious to his growing fame. His attention was focused on a single task, waiting for Arjun. He didn't understand the passage of time or death. He only knew that his heart guided him to stay, to wait, in the hope that maybe one day the door would open and his world would make sense again. As the seasons changed, Chule's story transformed into an urban legend in Kannur, attracting the attention of a growing community. People not only visited Chule to see him in person, but also began to provide more meaningful assistance. Local volunteer groups inspired by Chule's story organized food drives not only for him, but also for other stray animals. A small tent was erected to shield him from the scorching sun and the torrential rains typical of Kerala. Rajesh Nair, a young entrepreneur and animal lover, saw an opportunity to make a difference. Inspired by Chule, he launched a crowdfunding campaign to build a shelter for homeless animals, ensuring that Chule's story became a catalyst for a larger animal welfare movement in the city. Chule has taught us the true meaning of loyalty, Rajesh shared on his social media. Now, it's our turn to be loyal to him and his companions. Meanwhile, at the hospital, the staff began to see Chule in a different light. He was no longer just a waiting dog. He had become a part of their lives, a daily reminder of lessons in unconditional love and persistence. Maya, especially, found inspiration in Chule. She dedicated some of her free time to take care of him, ensuring that Chule always had company, even when the hope of his return seemed more distant. It was on a monsoon morning when the sky was heavy with grey clouds that Suresh Kumar, one of the longest-serving employees of the Morgue, made a decision that would change Chule's life forever. Watching Chule through the window, drenched by the rain, something inside Suresh moved. Enough, he said to himself. This dog deserves a family, a home. Suresh talked to Maya, and together they formulated a plan. Despite his initial reluctance to leave the place that connected him to Arjun's last trace, Chule instinctively trusted Suresh when he approached with a leash. "Come on, buddy," Suresh spoke gently. "You'll have a new home, but we'll never forget the story that brought us here." Taking Chule to his home, Suresh introduced him to his family, who welcomed Chule with open arms. Suresh's children, fascinated by Chule's story, promised to take care of him, offering him all the love and companionship he had given Arjun. The news of Chule's adoption spread quickly, symbolizing a happy ending to a story that had captured hearts around the world. Rajesh, even more inspired by the turn of events, redoubled his efforts at the animal shelter, naming it in honor of Chule, ensuring that Chule's loyalty and love for Arjun would inspire the city for generations. Chule's story of a dog who waited against all odds became a life lesson about the capacity to love unconditionally. Suresh, reflecting on the events, said, "Chule has taught us that even in the darkest circumstances, there is always room for hope, love, and ultimately, a fresh start." Chule's adoption by Suresh not only marked the end of his long vigil, but also the beginning of a legacy of compassion and awareness for animal welfare in Kannur. Chule's story, rich in lessons of loyalty, unconditional love, and hope, resonated far beyond the city's borders, inspiring people from all over the world to look at stray animals differently. The Chule's Haven Animal Shelter, opened by Rajesh, became a refugee for many homeless animals, symbolizing the transformation of a heartbroken story into one of hope and care. Chule, now surrounded by a new loving family, became a living symbol of the kindness that emerges in response to adversity. Annually, the community celebrates Chule's Day, an event that brings together animal lovers, volunteers, and citizens to promote the adoption and care of homeless animals. Chule's story and his tireless wait for Arjun are remembered not as a narrative of loss, but as a powerful reminder of the depth of the bond between humans and animals. In his new home, Chule found joy again, playing with Suresh's children and receiving the love he truly deserved. His story, born of sadness, became a spark that ignited a flame of compassion and change. Chule has shown us the true meaning of family and loyalty, Maya reflects, watching Chule play in the yard. His story goes beyond his weight. It is a testament to the impact that a single being can have on the world. And so, Chule lives his days, an emblem of unwavering love, teaching everyone that true loyalty never forgets, and that even after the greatest storms, one can find shelter, love, and a fresh start.